Since the dawn of time, aka 2007, a new flagship iPhone comes out every year, usually near the holidays. We can safely assume that this year won't be any different. So, here there are all my predictions and of course my concept of the next iPhone. Let's start with a crazy prediction. Really, it's just a shot in the dark, but hear me out. The next iPhone will have a system in a chip called Apple A15. Okay, no, seriously, other than the obvious incremental upgrades to the processor or the camera, they need at least one big feature to put in all the marketing. To be honest, there isn't much left to add to iPhones. Smartphones in general have basically peaked. But there is one feature that everyone expected last year, that every leaker said that it was coming, until it didn't. Of course, it's ProMotion. The display being able to refresh the image up to 120 times every second, 120 Hz. It makes everything a lot smoother. The problem is that this feature, even according to the leakers, was going to be exclusive for the Pro models. And in general, it's really hard to notice for the majority of people, even if this will be in this year's Pro models. How are they going to sell the standard ones? They surely have something else. The cool thing about ProMotion is that it's not always refreshing the image 120 times every second, cause that would destroy the battery. It only does it when it makes sense, but in some situations the refresh rate can go to as low as 1 refresh per second, saving a ton of battery. So, speaking of that big feature, here's what I think could happen. Both models will get displays with variable refresh rate. Only the Pros will get the improved smoothness though. It will be their exclusive feature for the year, but the variable refresh rate, present in both models, will be the key for the big new feature, always on display. Basically, even in sleep mode, the screen will show the time and the notifications. And here's my concept of this specific thing. As you can see, the time is at the top, while the floating icons are the notifications. The idea is that the older those notifications are, the smaller and blurrier they become. Of course, when you wake up the phone, you get redirected to the standard lock screen, with all your notifications in a list. I made it like this for two main reasons. First, the icons should always be moving to avoid the burn-in effect, and this was a great way to do it in my opinion. Second, because Apple always likes to emphasize every little thing they do, and this specifically would be the new model's big new feature. No, that is not just an LCD, that is a liquid retina display. So, this is not just an always-on display. My stupid marketing name for this is Cosmos Display. Why this name? Well, if you have a really great imagination, this could resemble a night sky with the apps resembling the stars. But of course, they could never call it the Galaxy display, so Cosmos. There are many other rumors about the next iPhones though. For some reason, the camera rectangle is said to become black, like it already is on the iPad Pros. To be honest, this would only be the second model in the supercycle started by the iPhone 12, because if you don't know, Apple has this pattern with iPhones of making design changes every 3 years. It used to be every 2 years, but now it's 3. This wouldn't be a big design change by any means, but usually the second model in the supercycle looks basically the same as the previous one, and changes to the camera designs usually happen on the third model in the cycle. So I don't think it's really happening, but I am putting it on my concept regardless, because I like how it looks. Another rumor is that the notch will get smaller, but to be fair, I don't think many people would actually notice or care, even though I agree that on the 12 mini it's a bit ridiculous. But most importantly, we have heard rumors of that notch shrinking since the first iPhone X unveiling, and it never happened. I think they will eventually shrink or completely get rid of the notch, but it'll be their desperate move when they really will have nothing left to change or upgrade. For the next iPhones, other than the stuff I said before, I have many other ideas for how they can make it feel fresh and new. And you probably already knew it because the video isn't finished yet. So, what else can they do? Add LiDAR on non-Pro iPhones. They could do it because it's irrelevant and nobody bought the Pro iPhones thanks to the LiDAR specifically, and maybe they might want more people to have it to push AR more. They could also remove the charging port. There are many rumors about this specific thing, and I believe that, unfortunately, they are correct. The iPhone will never get USB-C and it will become portless instead. Now, you may ask, how will removing something result in better sales? Not because there is something less, of course, but because by removing the port, they could improve the battery. That, especially for the iPhone mini, if they continue the line, would be a great thing. They could incrementally improve various other things, like the speaker or something, and maybe the phone could become more waterproof. Actually, I could totally see them getting a new custom waterproof certification to brag about to justify the removal of the port. Even if this doesn't happen this year, I think it'll happen eventually. Now, for something that I am really sure will happen, almost on par with a new chip, new colors. They have done it since the iPhone 5S. Every model that doesn't differ much from the previous gets new colors, and those are always the ones shown in all the marketing. My new colors for the standard are light blue and coral, even though they aren't really new. For the pros, I've also changed the stainless steel finish, because as it is, it looks really cool and premium in the marketing, and absolutely disgusting in real life because fingerprints exist. In my concept, it's not completely matte, but it's definitely less glossy. Also, I have no idea why they are so opposed to a product red Pro iPhone, so I made it instead. Of course, you also have your classic space gray, white and gold colors, but there is one more color. Do you remember the iPhone 7? That had a similar situation to this one. Not many new features, and one port was removed. In that case, the headphone jack. So they made the jet black variant. That was basically glossy black aluminum. That means that it looked gorgeous in the marketing images and the first second of use, and atrocious every moment after that. Also, it scratched like crazy because it was still aluminum. Since we first heard the rumors about the iPhone 10 having a glass back and a glossy stainless steel chassis, I started wondering about the return of that color. So this year, or the one after, could be the perfect opportunity to bring it back. Now, the name, what will it be? Many believe that it'll be called iPhone 12s. I disagree. The main arguments I've seen for why they would want to go with 12s instead of 13 are the following. Because 13 is an unlucky number. First of all, I don't think Apple cares about unlucky numbers. Second, by naming it the 12s, they would only delay the problem by 1 year, since it would make no sense to skip to the 14. The other argument that I have seen is that because this is a smaller upgrade, it doesn't deserve a new number. The last S model was the 10S, and it was probably called that because they wanted to keep the 10 branding for at least 1 more year, and at the same time they didn't want the 10R to feel cheaper, I guess. S models made sense when the super cycle lasted 2 years, and especially if they plan to ditch the port this year, I see no reason for them to shoot themselves in the foot and make this new model feel even less new than it already is. Also, iPhone 12s Pro Max. Was that a convincing enough argument? So, iPhone 13 it is. Another rumor I wanted to discuss is the return of TouchID. The main reason I have seen for why people want TouchID to come back is that Face ID doesn't work when you wear a mask. But you have to consider that by the end of the year we may already be out of the situation. Also, Face ID is more secure and I'd rather get an upgrade to that. By the way, I think they will want to give the Mini another try, at least. It's a niche phone, but I am sure that it could sell more than what the rumors suggest it did. If they are removing the port, they have to include a MagSafe charger in the box. I could see them doing the same thing they already do for the Apple Watch of shipping a cheaper plastic charger for the Beat models and a metallic one for the Pros. But they cannot increase the prices again. I am predicting that the Pro models will cost the same, while the standard models will either get $50 cheaper or cost the same as well. But if they cost the same, they must start at 128 gigs of storage. Actually, even if they get the price cut, 64 gigs of storage in 2021, it's almost nothing. So that's it. Those were all my predictions for the next iPhones. Ciao!